audiobooks, and the YouTube videos, which is a good jumping off place. Wikipedia. It's not the end all and be all, obviously. It's not hardly ever, but at least it's a decent jumping off place,
Get
right?
you
Where
started.
people can start. Yeah, exactly. Lead you off in different directions, and we can then exercise. Like you were talking about the human mind, Roger.
Right.
What more were you going to say about that?
No, I was just saying you got to, like you were saying, you got to start somewhere and don't complicate it. Just start reading. You know what I mean? And find something that interests you, and then go from there. And eventually, you'll start expanding just naturally. You'll go from wanting to read this to wanting to read this.
Right.
You know.
And what I found though with the Koreans is they lack any innate sense of curiosity.
Mm-hmm.
They're just very incurious people. They really are. It's so frustrating. Like by and large, not entirely, but the overwhelming majority, and it's quite disheartening. It's very sad. So, but once as a I'm a professional elf, right? I mean, we've talked about that in the past.
English language, yeah.
What's that, Mark?
And the what we used to call TFLs, teacher in English.
Professional elves.
Yeah.
In the UK, in educational circles, we used to call these people like yourself TFLs.
Chief elves.
Santa's little helpers.
Teacher in education, teacher in English foreign languages.
Yeah. Okay.
TEFL. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, English, but English language facilitator is how I kind of regard my
Philologist or some word like that is what I was always under the impression. What do they call that? Philologist.
When Jackie started saying Deng Huan, I thought it was a Vietnamese name, but turns out to be Chinese.
Yeah. So Jing Jiao documents early, and I got on screen share. I think right now people should see it. Early Chinese language manuscripts blending Taoist, Buddhist, and Christian teachings, connected with 7th century mission of Alepan, a church of the East, bishop from Sasanian Mesopotamia. The Jingjiao documents are a collection of Chinese language texts connected with 7th East bishops, so they're kind of repeating themselves. Blah blah blah. But it's also look, you can get it free here. But
how do they relate to Nestorians?
Because there's a heavy. Okay, just type in Nestorians. And then Dunhuang.
Because Nestorius was this heresy is like a 4th century heresy.
Right. Well, what happened was there were these these documents were hidden, and then they were uncovered, revealed by the monk, the Taoist monk, kind of got bought off.
And resurrected, right?
Well, no, he opened the
China.
cave. Yeah, it's like the apocalypse, as I'm saying. Do you know what the word apocalypse really means?
You asked this before in your show.
Yeah, you have asked it.
Guys, it's just let's see if you pass
unveiling or
Jackie's acid test this week. Yeah. Okay, you got it. There you go. It's 5 points for 10. So that's what I do with my adults. 5 points, check mark. Or you know what the Koreans really go for? Like I do love Korea and the Koreans by and large. Like all the but the problem is they don't like being criticized. But fuck that. If you can't take it, too bad for you. So So like, come on, really.
I mean, come on, dude. The Book of Revelations. Seriously.
Yeah.
I mean,
the Dozong stamps. They go for the stamps. You give them the stamps, like the kids especially. The Dozong, they go crazy for that. Like they stamp it on their hands. Like, go home and show your parents. You did really well in the teacher's English science class today. Like they just get so excited, and yeah, it's great. So, but yeah, revealing, pulling back of the veil, and remember Maya is meaning the veil of illusion, right? And if you look at the Maya, it's mother and matrix and make and magic and ma 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 ma. Like just it's the basic marijuana.
Mana.
You know, and in Korea we say mandelda, meaning make, mandelda, like or maybe mandala, you know. And then there's machuda. See, the Koreans, and here's another thing: the Koreans have all these old words that sound like English, like machuda. Do you know what that is in English? Here's a hint: machuda. Match.
Okay.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Matchda.
Mani.
Match.
You know what mani? Here's an old.
Sounds like Japanese.
Yeah. Well, it means match. Mani. You know what that is in English? Mani. Many. And then there's like things like kure so. Just they say, oh, kure so means so. And then they say isayo or isumnida means his. You know, like in Spanish and Italian, Spanish they get esta. Oh, in French, il, esta. So is. You know, there's that. And just you know, the old word for barley is boli, and that's very Silk Road. You know, as far as check this out. Speaking of which, they found, I got to get to the bottom of this. They found kind of like this is even bigger because it's more here, like in the East. They've hidden these things. Like they're not making a big deal of it, but I'm going to get to the bottom of it because I heard through a student not so long ago. There have been these because there were traders, right? The Tocharians and I'm sure the Parthians, but they tried to for a long time serve as middlemen from between Rome and China.
Yeah, the Parthians. Yeah. They were,
and there were Scythians as well too, right?
Yeah.
And that's who the Buddha was. Sokamuni. Now here's another thing. Sokamuni was a Scythian. Now, what his clan was Soka. They call him here in Korea Soka. Soka Muni. Remember I told you earlier about
Soka and the Uyghur.
The Uyghur?
The Uyghur. They originally were called Uyghur, but their names changed to Uyghur. But the Soka.
Oh, really?
You know, the
Soka.
Soka. The Soka was a big part in it. Like there was actually 2 migrations into India at separate times from the Indo-Aryans.
Yeah.
And one was going into India, and then the other one was freaking like where they had left, went back to Europe, and then came back again to the east and migrated back down into India for a second time. It's pretty interesting, that whole story. But yeah, when you said that just kind of everything right there kind of clicked in my head.
Okay, well, let me just to cap this off. That's good. Connecting the dots, because there's a lot of dots to be connected here. We can all help out with Sokamuni and Prince Shotoku, the Japanese prince. Now, there's a location where I'm based out of here. It's kind of south central Korea. And remember, the Gaia. If you look up the Gaia Confederacy, it was a linchpin inside the peninsula itself. Gaia as Gaya, if you're curious, which ties back to the whole Buddhist thing in India, the Bodh Gaya. I believe that's where it came from, and I believe that the King Kim Sudowang, he named his confederacy in kind of as a tribute to his queen, his young queen who came from India. Her name was Ho Wong Ok, meaning the Queen of Jade, basically, the Queen of Jade. So, and that's where international marriage. It helps. It forges. It but just the way things are done today with alliances, right? And you establish more trust and cooperation, working together to promote peace and trade and sustainable
A
lifestyles.
contract.
Yeah, you work so that you can live a happy life, basically, and build a better, flourishing, stable society. Right? It's a kind of win-win if you can manage it, I guess. But so okay, here's the thing. Prince Shotoku, he was Soka. See, he went to Japan from here. It's a long story, but just to cut to the chase, he went all the way around because they got driven out. They were Korean originally. They were Korean, and they got driven out once. They got driven eastward from here, and then they got driven about 100 years or so later. They got driven east again to a place called Gongju. You really want to diehard look into Gongju, and then finally the third time, the Sheila came after. They were known as the Sheila. They fought the Baekje and Sheila. That they drove them out, and the royal family went on the run again, all the way around to Japan, and they were the Soka clan, and helped. Prince Shotoku was the main guy who helped to establish and promote Buddhism throughout Japan. So something to really be aware of and think about how it all came, I say from China, well, Korea primarily, really, through the Prince Shotoku and the Soka clan, which Soka Muni is his name, which is like Sakya Muni, like he was a Sakya, right? Sakya, Soka. There's a connection there, it seems. So, and he was a Scythian. Yeah, it's really fascinating stuff, But and the language itself is something that really I find endlessly intriguing. The way that so much, like Jim Marrs talked about our occulted history. That was his last book, I think, Our Occulted History. And the word that in itself, occulted, just means hidden or unseen. So the powers that be, it's not like we're hoodwinked and deceived, and
well, that's the way we've been kind of brought into this whole situation. Like nothing ever was just opened up to everybody, you know what I mean? Like everything has always been held in secret.
Yes.
And everybody gets that backwards because we live in a world where they're saying, well, we have to be transparent. That's not one time in history before now was that ever something that humans practiced. Ever.
Oh yeah, jealously guarded and compartmentalized, right?
Right. I mean, they even made it. They outlawed Latin being translated into English so that the poor couldn't understand how to read and stuff.